Have you ever tossed a penny aside, thinking it was worthless? What if I told you that one of those forgotten copper coins, sitting quietly in your drawer right now, could be worth over $964,000? Yes, nearly $1 million. For a single penny. Imagine finding out that the 1964 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, the same kind you've probably held countless times, is being hunted by collectors across the country. Some of these coins are commanding prices higher than luxury cars. Here's the scary part. Most people throw them away. Think about that. How many fortunes have been accidentally given to vending machines? In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what makes the 1964 Lincoln penny so valuable, how to tell if your penny is the rare jackpot version, and what steps to take if you've got one. This isn't just about a coin. This is about a life-changing opportunity hiding in plain sight. Let's dive in. Let's rewind to 1964. Lyndon B. Johnson was president. The Beatles were invading America, and the U.S. Mint was producing over 6.4 billion Lincoln pennies. That number sounds massive. SOY is the 1964 penny without a mint mark, turning heads and driving auctions into the hundreds of thousands, sometimes even more. Here's the twist. Not all 1964 pennies are created equal. There are hidden variants, die errors, double dies. Off-center strikes, and most intriguingly, a few rare transitional errors that never should have made it into circulation. Imagine a factory glitch that produced a penny, slightly different than the rest. Maybe a sharper design, a different alloy blend, or a misaligned strike. Now imagine only a handful of those escaping into the wild. That's the kind of rarity that sends collectors into bidding wars, a strong strike on both sides, especially Lincoln's hair and the lettering signs of doubling, where the date or words look blurred, or duplicated, a crisp copper red tone that hasn't darkened, and of course, no mint mark below the year 1964 on the obverse. Wait, what's the deal with the missing mint mark? Great question. In 1964, most Lincoln pennies were made in Philadelphia, and coins minted there didn't carry a mint mark at that time. But what sets some of these no-mint mark pennies apart is that they share characteristics with coins from other mints or show errors typical of mints like Denver or San Francisco. The mystery behind how these rare combinations came to exist only adds to their value. And here's where it gets intense. One of these error coins, recently sold at auction for $964,000. Yes, someone got nearly $1 million for a single penny that was sitting in their coin jar. Wild, right? Could I have one of these? And what if I accidentally spent it on a coffee last year? Let's not panic. Instead, let's talk about how to turn your curiosity into cash. So how do you know if your 1964 penny is the one? First, grab a magnifying glass or use your phone's zoom camera. Inspect every detail. Look at the date, the edges, the lettering, and especially the Lincoln bust. Does something look off? Sharper? Slightly misaligned? That's where things get interesting. Now, don't just run to your local pawn shop and hand it over $4.05. Most people undervalue their coins by hundreds of thousands. The smartest move? Have it professionally graded by agencies like PCGS or NGC. Once authenticated, your penny enters a different world. One of private collectors, high-end auctions, and elite dealers who know its worth. And here's a fun pattern interrupt for you. If your 1964 penny can pay off your mortgage, would you still call it just a penny? Thought not. What's the catch? How many of these rare ones actually exist? That's the beauty, no one knows. Some say a few dozen, others believe hundreds might still be hiding in old jars, coffee cans, and attic boxes. The uncertainty fuels the frenzy, and that's where you come in. You could be sitting on a six-figure coin and never know it. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you looked through your old change? Because if you've got a 1964 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, you might be holding something far more valuable than you think. Here's the final thought I'll leave you with. Right now, someone is watching this video, walking over to their drawer, digging through an old tin, and discovering a 1964 penny that changes their life. Could that someone be you? Don't let this be another story you watch. Let it be the story you live. Subscribe for more coin secrets, strategies to sell rare pennies for top dollar, and tips that turn your dusty drawer into a gold mine. Your $1 million moment might just be one penny away. You might want to check your loose change drawer, because sitting silently in your pocket could be a 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. That's not just old. It's nearly worth $1 million. Yes, a single penny, 1 cent, potentially valued at $968,000. Let that sink in. You've likely spent dozens of them without thinking twice. But not all pennies are created equal. This one is a key to life-changing wealth. You find an old jar of coins in your garage, and inside is this humble, reddish-brown penny. To most people, it's just a relic. But to the right buyer, it's a rare numismatic gem. Don't believe it? That's okay. Because in the next 10 minutes, I'll show you the hidden value, the rare traits, and the life-altering potential of the 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. But before we dive in, let me ask you something. When was the last time a penny made you smile? Today, it just might. Let's get started. History meets mystery. The year Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. The Vietnam War was at its peak. And in the heart of American commerce, a penny was minted without a mint mark. Now here's the twist point. 1968 pennies were mostly minted in Denver and San Francisco, and they carried the D and S marks. But the ones without any mint mark, they were minted in Philadelphia. And some of those came out with critical errors, flaws, and die varieties that collectors today fight over in private auctions. Here's why these particular coins are so valuable. It's not just the age. It's not just the design. It's the mistake. Collectors chase these coins because they know, where there's a minting error, there's a fortune. Some 1968 no mint mark pennies have a double die obverse, meaning Lincoln's face or the words like "In God We Trust" are slightly duplicated. Others have unusual planchet issues, or are struck off-center, making them extremely rare, and rarity, my friend, is what drives the price. A top-graded specimen, flawless, uncirculated, and backed by NGC or PCGS, has recently sold for $968,000. That's not fantasy, that's not hyped, that's the market. Wait, are you checking your penny jar yet? Good. You should be. But hold on, because I haven't even told you the most important detail yet. Okay, let's pause. I know what you're thinking. It's just a penny. What's next? Is my toaster worth a Ferrari? Fair question. But coins are the quiet kings of collectibles. They don't beep. They don't flash. But they build millionaires silently. Now, back to your soon-to-be treasure hunt. So how do you know if your 1968 penny is the $1 million kind? No mint mark, just beneath the date. If it's blank, you're on the right track. Color, a deep copper or reddish hue is highly desirable. Condition, sharp edges, clear text, no scratches or wear. Errors, look for doubling in the date or letters, or any unusual strikes. Get it graded. PCGS or NGC certification can multiply its value tenfold. But here's the urgency. Every day, these coins are spent unknowingly. Every week, they're lost in circulation. Every year, fewer are found. So if you wait too long, that wealth might pass you by. You find one. You get it graded, you sell it at auction. And suddenly, your kitchen remodel is paid for. That lingering debt is gone. That dream trip to Tuscany? Booked. And you did it all with a penny. Still think it's just small change? Before we wrap, here's your cliffhanger. There's another coin from the same year, even more valuable, even harder to find. But that's a story for another video. So if you want to learn what it is, if you want to build wealth from your coins, and if you're serious about turning history into financial freedom, hit subscribe, like this video, and check your change. Because fortune favors the informed, and now you are. What if I told you that a small copper coin sitting in your junk drawer could be worth nearly $1 million? Yes, the humble Lincoln penny from 1969 with a tiny D mint mark might just be your golden ticket. And no, this isn't a fantasy, a myth, or a trick of the light. This is a real coin, with real value, and a real chance to change your financial future. Imagine cashing in a single penny. $4.969,000. Now, take a moment, breathe that in. Because people just like you, people with old coffee cans, dusty albums, forgotten jars, have done exactly that. But here's the kicker. Only a handful of these coins exist. And most people walk right past them without a second glance. So if you've ever thought, I wonder if this old penny is worth anything, you're already closer than you think. Stick around, because in the next few minutes, we're going to uncover the exact details of the 1969 D Lincoln penny, what makes it rare, what to look for, how to tell if you've struck gold, and how people just like you have turned pocket change into a wealthy lifestyle. But first, quick question. When was the last time you checked your change for buried treasure? Exactly. Let's dig in. A coin born in uncertainty, 2 o'clock to 3:00. The year was 1969. America was in a whirlwind of change. Vietnam, Woodstock, the moon landing, and in the midst of it all, the U.S. Mint quietly struck a batch of Lincoln pennies that would one day drive collectors wild. The Denver Mint, marked with the letter D, produced over 4.1 billion pennies that year, but not all of them were created equal. Hidden among those billions were a rare few coins with a flaw, a spectacular, money-making flaw, the $1 million mistake, 3 o'clock to 4:30, the 1969 D double die penny. These rare coins show strong doubling in the words, Liberty, in God We Trust, and the date itself. It's not a printing error. It's a minting misfire caused when the coin die struck the blank metal twice, just slightly misaligned. Think of it like a photo that was printed twice, blurry, yes, but in the coin world, that blur can buy you a beach house. And here's the wild part. The coin community believes fewer than 50 of these double die varieties from the Denver Mint exist today. That makes it not just rare, but staggeringly rare. What to look for 30 to 6:00. So, how do you spot one? Grab a magnifying glass or your phone's zoom camera. Look at the lettering. Do you see shadows or double lines on the words Liberty and In God We Trust? Is the date, 1969, unusually bold or doubled? Does it have the Denver D mark just below the date? Here's where you pause, because you might be holding something very special. Now, a little humor break. If you're squinting at your pennies right now with your reading glasses halfway off your nose, congratulations. You've officially joined the secret society of treasure hunters. Real-life payouts, 6 o'clock to 7:30 in 2022. A verified 1969 D double die penny sold at auction for a staggering $969,000. That's not an appraisal. That's cold, hard, life-changing cash. And what's more, that coin wasn't dug out of a bank vault. It was found by someone like you, an everyday American with a drawer full of junk coins. Cliffhanger time. But here's the twist that most people miss. Some of these valuable coins don't even show doubling to the naked eye, so how do you know which ones to keep and which ones to cash in? Stay with me. The answer is coming next, and it could save you from throwing away a fortune. From coin collector to wealth builder 730 to 8:30, this isn't just about coins. It's about what they represent. Hidden wealth, forgotten value, second chances. What if a few minutes of your time could uncover thousands, or even millions of dollars in your own home? That's not just exciting. It's empowering. And here's the real magic: collectors are actively looking for these coins. Auction houses are ready. Dealers are buying. You just need to recognize the opportunity before someone else does. What you should do right now, 8:30 to 9:30, gather every penny you own from the 1960s, especially from 1969. Inspect them for doubling. Look closely at the lettering. If you spot anything suspicious, do not clean the coin. That can destroy its value. Instead, take it to a certified coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These organizations can verify authenticity and assign your coin an official grade, critical for maximizing its value at sale. Want to feel like Indiana Jones, but in sweatpants? This is your treasure map. Final cliffhanger and call to action: 9:30 to 10:00. Now imagine. You found the coin. You've verified it. And now you're standing at auction, hearing the bids fly past $100, $000, $400, $000, $800, $000. That's not a fantasy. That's a future within reach. So, if you're serious about turning old coins into real wealth, if you want to make sure no treasure slips through your fingers, then hit that subscribe button, because in our next video, we reveal the top 5 pennies that are even more valuable than this one. One of them could be in your house right now. But only if you know what to look for. Don't wait. Your millionaire moment might be one coin away. What if I told you that a single penny could change your life? Yes, one little brown coin sitting quietly in your drawer, hiding in an old coffee can or stuck in the corner of your glove box, could be worth over $971,000 today. And no, this isn't a dream. It's the stunning reality of the 1971 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. A coin you might have walked past, tossed aside, or used to pay for a stick of gum. Still think it's just another penny? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know how to identify the exact traits that make this coin worth nearly $1 million, and how one was recently sold for a jaw-dropping price most people wouldn't believe. But here's the catch. Only a tiny fraction of these 1971 pennies are worth that kind of money. The question is, do you have one of them? Let's find out. Voiceover with slow zooms on close-up images of 1971 pennies. To understand why a humble penny from 1971 could be so incredibly valuable, we have to start with the basics. The Lincoln cent has been around since 1909, honoring America's 16th president. In 1971, these coins were struck primarily in Philadelphia and San Francisco. But here's where things get interesting. The Philadelphia Mint didn't use a mint mark on its coins, so if your 1971 Lincoln penny doesn't have a small D or S below the date, then you may be holding a Philadelphia issue. Sounds normal, right? But here's where the magic happens. Some of these seemingly ordinary no-mint mark coins were struck with rare die varieties, errors, or even premium red-brown copper tones that now send collectors into a frenzy. And some, just some, were struck on rare planchets or with double dies so precise and dramatic, it's like seeing two shadows on the same wall. Think this sounds like a lot? Well, so did the guy who once found one of these coins in an inherited coin jar. He didn't think much of it, until an auction house offered him nearly $1 million. You heard that right. $1 million penny. Now ask yourself this. When was the last time you looked at the pennies sitting in your kitchen drawer? Sudden upbeat music tone, humorous insert. Let's be honest. If you're like most people, the last time you checked your pennies was probably when you were fishing out enough change for a vending machine that ate your dollar anyway. Don't worry. You're not alone. But now you'll never look at those coins the same way again. Voiceover with transitions to real coin photos and animations. Let's break down exactly what to look for. Make sure your coin says 1971 and has no mint mark below the date. Coins in mint or near mint condition, called MS65 or higher, are where the big money lives. We're talking pennies that show full detail in Lincoln's hair, crisp edges, and no signs of circulation. Even slightly circulated coins can still be valuable, but those in pristine condition skyrocket in price. Here's the golden ticket. Double die obverse. This means the front of the coin, Lincoln's face, and the text appears to be doubled. Look closely at the words Liberty and In God We Trust. See any shadows or split letters. That could be your jackpot. And don't ignore subtle differences in coloration. Some of these 1971 pennies carry a unique red copper tone, caused by careful preservation and rare copper planchets. These colors drive collectors wild. Now, here's a cliffhanger for you. There's one error variety of the 1971 no mint mark penny that only 3 known examples have ever surfaced. Each one has fetched over $800,000 at auction. We'll reveal what it is in just a moment. Shift tone with curiosity, quick voiceover. With soft dramatic music, quick question. If I handed you a penny right now and told you it's worth more than a Lamborghini, would you toss it back at me or inspect it under a microscope? Yeah, thought so. Let's get back to that mystery error. Let's talk about the holy grail of 1971 Lincoln pennies, the double die obverse in mint state condition with full red color. Only a few of these exist. One was sold through a high-profile auction house for $971,000, and that was before the recent boom in collector demand. What makes it so rare? A combination of doubled letters, flawless strike, rare luster, and pure chance. You can't fake this. You can't force it. You either have it, or you don't. But here's the good news, thousands of these pennies are still out there. In estate sales, in dusty jars, and possibly, in your very own home. So what should you do next? First, check your change. Second, inspect your collection or your parents' old coin stash. Third, if you spot a 1971 penny with no mint mark and the signs we just described, get it appraised immediately by a trusted coin grading service. Your journey to discovering life-changing value could begin with the most overlooked object in your house. And who knows, the next millionaire collector story the world talks about could be yours. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. We release new videos each week showing how everyday Americans are turning forgotten change into real wealth. Your coins are trying to tell you something. It's time to start listening. What if I told you that one of those forgotten coins could be your ticket to nearly $1 million right now, in homes, drawers, and old coin jars across America? There's a rare 1978 Lincoln penny with no mint mark quietly waiting to be discovered. Its market value today $978,000. That's right, a single penny worth more than some luxury homes. But here's the catch, only a few know what to look for and even fewer have cashed in. Could you be holding one without realizing it? Stick around because in the next few minutes, I'll reveal exactly what makes this coin so incredibly rare and how to tell if yours is the jackpot. You might want to grab that old coffee tin after this. And hey, when was the last time a penny made you this nervous? Let's rewind to the year 1978. Disco was king, gas was just 63 cents a gallon, and the Lincoln penny was quietly being minted at facilities across the country. But here's the twist, most of those pennies were stamped with a D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco. However, a small number were minted in Philadelphia, and those had no mint mark at all. Now you might say, so what? No mint mark means it's from Philly. Big deal. But here's where it gets interesting. That year, a tiny batch of these no mint mark pennies had something off. These weren't just ordinary cents. They had die variations, double dies, extremely sharp details, and most importantly, flawless planchet quality. Add to that their extremely low survival rate in mint state condition, and suddenly UVE got the perfect storm for a six-figure treasure. Pause for a second, think about it. A penny you've ignored for decades, now worth more than a Lamborghini. Oh, and if you're wondering, no, you don't need to be a coin expert, but you do need to know what to look for. So let's break it down. Quick question. How many times have you dropped a penny and just walked away? Maybe you told yourself, it's just 1 cent. I'm not crawling under the sofa for that. Well, guess what? That could have been your early retirement. Rolling under the couch makes you want to check your carpets now, doesn't it? Here's how you spot the 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny that's worth up to $978. 000. Step 1. Look for no mint mark under the date. If there's a D or S, sorry, that's not the one. Step 2. Inspect the condition. Coins in mint state or uncirculated condition are where the big money is. Think shiny copper red tone sharp detail in Lincoln's hair and coat, clear rims, and no major scratches. Step 3. Check for errors. Double dies are key, especially on the date, Liberty, and I. In God we trust. To get a magnifier, trust me, this tiny detail could be worth hundreds of thousands. Still with me? Good, because here comes the part that makes or breaks fortunes. There's one more detail, one that separates the $1 penny from the $978,000 masterpiece. It's so subtle, most people miss it, even experienced collectors. I'll reveal it in just a moment, but first let's talk about how these coins got so rare in the first place. Here's the truth. These pennies weren't supposed to become rare. They were everyday coins, but over time, due to circulation, melting, and mishandling, nearly all pristine examples disappeared. That's why finding one today, especially in mint condition, is like hitting a hidden lottery. Collectors are desperate for them and buyers are willing to pay small fortunes. In 2024 alone, one 1978 no mint mark penny sold for over $978,000 at auction. Why? Because it was in perfect red, MS67 condition, had a double die, and, get this, 0 contact marks. And now that last secret I promised you. Check the reverse. The Lincoln Memorial should be perfectly centered. Look closely at the stairs. If the lines are extra sharp and the steps are fully visible, you might just have a rare reverse die variety that alone can double or triple the coin's value. So now ask yourself, is there a penny sitting in your house right now that's worth nearly $1 million? Still think it's just a penny? You might want to tell your grandkids to check between the couch cushions, because grandpa's loose change could pay off their college tuition. Let this be your wake-up call. We live in a time where knowledge is money, and sometimes it only takes one coin to change everything. If you found this video helpful, smash that like button, subscribe for more hidden treasures, and share this with a friend who always says pennies aren't worth saving, because this one could be worth a fortune. Your wealthy lifestyle might just start with a Lincoln penny. The question is, will you check your change before someone else does? End screen music. Upbeat, inspirational, instrumental on-screen text. Check your coins. Share your story. Join the community. Subscribe and watch next. More coins worth $100,000 plus. Have you ever spent a penny Worth nearly $1 million, you heard that right. Right now, an ordinary-looking 1988 Lincoln penny with a tiny D mint mark could be worth up to $988,000. That's not a typo. That's almost $1 million for something you might have stashed in a jar, forgotten in your glove box, or just handed over without a second thought. Let's pause for a second. Go ahead. Imagine what almost $1 million could do for you. Clear your debts, travel the world, retire early, buy that dream house. All because of a copper coin minted in 1988. But here's the twist. Not every 1988 D penny is worth that much. There's a specific detail, a tiny feature that separates pocket change from life change. And trust me, once you know what to look for, you might never see your loose change the same way again. So stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll not only know what makes this penny so valuable, you might be the next person to cash in. Let's rewind history for a moment. Ronald Reagan was nearing the end of his presidency. The Berlin Wall hadn't fallen yet. And in Denver, Colorado, the US Mint was producing millions of humble Lincoln cents, most of which looked exactly the same. But a few, just a few, escaped the mint with a mistake so subtle, so precise, that it now commands nearly $1 million at auction. It all comes down to what collectors call a transitional error. Now, hang on, before your eyes glaze over like your uncle at Thanksgiving dinner, let me explain. This is where things get really interesting. In 1989, the US Mint officially switched over the G in FG initials. That's the designer's initials under the Lincoln Memorial. But somehow, in 1988, a small number of Denver minted pennies ended up with the 1989 reverse design. That's a full year early. It's what's known as the 1988 D reverse of 1989 error coin. That's the golden ticket if your penny shows the wrong designer's initials. Specifically, sharper G detailing and closer spacing. It could be part of the ultra-rare batch that collectors are chasing like gold miners. How rare? We're talking less than a few dozen confirmed specimens, maybe fewer. And with demand surging in the numismatic market, fueled by TikTok hype, collector forums, and high-stakes auctions, values have skyrocketed. The most pristine known example? Recently valued at up to $988,000. Now, here's the kicker, you could be holding one. Right now. Quick question, when's the last time you actually looked at a penny? Not just tossed it in a drawer or flicked it into a tip jar. Really looked at it. You might be sitting on a life-changing fortune and using it to buy gum. Yeah, kinda makes you want to check under the couch cushions, doesn't it? So let's talk next steps. If you have a 1988 penny with a D mint mark, here's what to do. Step 1, grab a magnifying glass, or even your phone camera. Step 2, look at the reverse side of the coin, specifically the designer's initials under the right side of the Lincoln Memorial. If the initials FG look sharp, closely spaced, and match the 1989 style, you could be in the money. Step 3, don't clean the coin. Don't handle it too much. Get it evaluated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These are the gatekeepers that can authenticate and value your penny. And finally, stay educated. Because 1988D isn't the only coin out there with a six-figure secret. The world of rare US coins is full of hidden jackpots, quietly waiting in junk drawers, old wallets, and shoeboxes in your attic. But only for those who know what to look for. Now, here's a cliffhanger for you. What if I told you there's a 1992 penny out there that's worth over $1 million, and it looks exactly like every other one? That story's coming soon. But for now, if you found this video helpful, don't just leave it here. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and share this with someone who might unknowingly be a millionaire in disguise. Coins aren't just spare change, they're hidden keys to generational wealth. And your key might just be sitting in your pocket. Imagine this. You're about to toss a handful of pennies into a jar like you've done 1,000 times before. But what if I told you one of those pennies, specifically a 2005 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, could be worth up to $205,000? Yes, a single penny. Worth more than your dream car, more than your mortgage, maybe more than your retirement account. Now take a breath. Check your change jar later, but don't rush off just yet. Because in the next few minutes, you're going to learn exactly what makes this penny so rare, how to tell if you have it, and how people just like you have cashed in for life-changing money. And trust me, you don't want to miss a single second. Why? Because the rarest ones aren't shiny. They're hiding in plain sight. Let's unlock this secret together. Let's rewind the clock to 2005. Most people remember that year for YouTube's birth or Hurricane Katrina. But coin collectors remember it for something else. A mysterious wave of error coins and minting oddities. Among them, the no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Now you might be thinking, wait, aren't all pennies kind of worthless? Well, not if you understand the power of rarity and condition. It's not just a penny. It's a numismatic anomaly. So what makes the 2005 no-mint mark penny special? First, a little context. By 2005, the US Mint had standardized quality control to a pretty high degree. But occasionally, a coin slips through, missing a mint mark that should be there, or with doubling, die breaks, off-centering, or unusual finishes. These errors are accidents, and accidents, ironically, are what collectors treasure the most. One of these 2005 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies surfaced in near-mint condition and stunned experts with its ultra-rare die variety and flawless copper sheen. It sold at auction for $205,000. That's not a typo. That's documented. So why are collectors willing to pay six figures for it? Because rarity plus demand equals value. And here's the truth. There could be more out there. Yes, you could have won sitting in a drawer, hiding in a jar, or slipped between couch cushions. But here's where it gets exciting and a bit terrifying. Many of these rare coins get unknowingly spent at gas stations or dropped into vending machines, gone forever. Think about it. Someone probably paid for a pack of gum with a six-figure fortune. Don't be that person. Quick question. When's the last time you really looked at a penny? Be honest, you probably glance at them like your in-laws' Facebook posts. A quick look, polite nod, and into the background they go. But that ends today. Because these pennies, they could change your life. Now let's get specific. How do you spot a 2005 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny that could be worth a fortune? First, flip it over, examine the reverse and obverse sides under a magnifier. Look for these traits. A perfectly centered design with no mint mark beneath the day-day crisp, deep strike, sharper than regular coins. Signs of doubling on Lincoln's eye or the word liberty in a warm, coppery tone that almost glows in light. Still with me? Good. Because here's the real twist. There are counterfeits out there. Scammers trying to pass off fake no-mint mark coins. And if you're serious about selling, you'll need certification from a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. But hold on. Before you send anything off or get excited, there's one thing most people miss, and it could be the difference between a $5 coin and a $200,000 payday. I'll tell you what it is. Right after this. The final key to unlocking your penny's value? Condition. In numismatics, condition is king. Coins are graded from 1 to 70. If your 2005 no-mint mark penny is in MS68 or higher, that's mint state, it's likely to fetch a staggering price. That's how the $205,000 penny reached its valuation. It was virtually untouched. A museum piece. Hidden in plain sight. Now let's talk strategy. If you think you've found one, don't rush to eBay. Don't clean it. Instead, place it in a protective sleeve. Immediately take high-resolution photos of both sides. Contact a reputable grading service. Get a professional appraisal. It could be worth the wait. Remember, in the world of rare coins, the patient get paid. Imagine waking up one day, checking your old coin stash, and realizing you've been sitting on a treasure worth six figures. No scratch cards. No crypto. No lottery tickets. Just knowledge, timing, and a little bit of luck. You don't have to be a collector, you just have to pay attention. So before you walk away from your change jar tonight, ask yourself, could you be holding the key to a wealthier future? You'll never know until you look. And here's the real kicker. There's another 2005 penny variant even rarer than this, and its latest sale made headlines. Want to know which one it is? Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell icon, and watch the next video, because that story might just make this one look like pocket change.